So I just signed up for my first bouldering competition and I have no idea what I'm doing. But let me backtrack. I know how to boulder. Obviously. I just have no idea what to expect in terms of the competition format or really how to prepare for it. So let me go over how I plan to prepare over the next couple of weeks for my first rock climbing competition. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Mike, and on this channel, we go over the specific details that are required to improve as an athlete, and today we're talking all about rock climbing. More specifically, I want to go into my plan for the next couple of weeks, going into my first bouldering competition, which is going to be the Old Pueblo Classic at Rock Solid in Tucson, Arizona. I want to go over what my training is like right now, how it's going to change, what my biggest weaknesses are, and then how this training plan is actually going to try and address those weaknesses. So let's start off with, what does my training look like at the moment? I climb about 2 times a week. Twice a week, I also do climbing adjacent training, which is basically strength training that helps my climbing. Basically, this is just like pull and grip workouts. And then 1 to 2 times a week, I do general strength and conditioning training. I follow this fitness programming called Proven. It's a CrossFit training program. It's really awesome. I'm gonna do videos on it later, but basically I use that for my general strength and conditioning. So right now I'm not doing a whole lot of climbing. I am doing a lot of like strength training. I am doing some like grip work and some pulling work, which, you know, helps translate into climbing, but I'm not really doing any bouldering itself or a ton of bouldering itself. Lucky wants to join. So over the next couple of weeks, what I plan on changing is I'm going to start climbing 3 to 4 times a week. I'm going to keep doing climbing related strength training, but I'm only going to do it 1 or 2 times per week. And then once a week, I'm going to do some sort of bouldering conditioning workout, whether it's like 4x4, 5x5. I'll go into the details of those in another video. I'm going to continue doing 1 to 2 times of general strength and conditioning per week. And then I'm also going to start including 1 to 2 times of mobility work per week. So it is a pretty decent increase in volume, but it's for a really good reason. And this kind of transitions into what my biggest weakness is in climbing, which is, drum roll please. Before I say my biggest weakness, when you're planning out how you're going to train for a competition or just working towards any sort of goal, what you really want to figure out is, what is your point of failure? Basically, what is the thing that is going to be holding you back from reaching that goal or improving? It's similar to what is your weakest link, but it's a little more specific than that. So for bouldering, it's like, why can't you complete a climb? Do you always pump out at the end of the climb? Are your fingers not strong enough to hold on to the holds? Is your contact strength not strong enough that when you hit a hold, you're not able to stick it first? Are you able to do a couple of climbs really well, but then as you get fatigued, you just can't keep up the same pace? Or is it that you have trouble figuring out the technique or the beta of a climb to begin with? And that's actually my biggest problem, is the last one. I am terrible at trying to figure out how a route is supposed to be done. I have pretty good power, I have pretty decent grip strength, but in terms of like figuring out footwork and in terms of figuring out how a route is actually supposed to be done, I might as well just be going blindfolded. So knowing this, how do you create a training plan that's going to address these weaknesses? So basically what you want to do is you want to take your point of failure and you want to organize your training plan around that. So let's look at a different example that's not technique related. With bouldering routes, they tend to be filled with a lot more powerful moves. And this could be quite aggressive on your pulling muscles, particularly with anything that's like an overhung route. So let's say this is the part that you struggle with. Your point of failure is your pulling strength. So knowing this actually gives you a lot of power. With this information, you or working with a coach can develop a 6, 8, 12-week program to basically work on your pulling strength. You can do a lot of pull-ups, you can do weighted pull-ups, you can do campus board stuff. You can also do aggressive resistance band pull-ups, which are basically just gonna work on your speed of your pulling motion. All of these things are going to help improve your power, which, if that's why you're failing boulders, that's going to help you become a better climber. But all of it really stems from having a solid understanding of what your personal weakness is. So for me, knowing that technique is the point of failure, I plan to address it in one of 2 ways. And the first one is getting in a high volume of repetitions. Because improving your technique has a mental component to it, you need to be able to create the brain connections in order to improve your hand-eye coordination, your foot technique, all these other sort of like body movements. They all stem from the brain. And so what you really need to do is improve that. You need to get in high repetitions, which is basically just going to help create the connections in your brain. I might do another video on how this works exactly. There's a fantastic book on this called The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. Maybe I'll do a video on that to talk about actually how the brain connection works and how you improve these skills. But essentially all you need to know is in order to improve your technique, you need to do high repetition. And if you look back at my training week, basically I'm only climbing twice a week right now, and I plan on increasing it to 3 to 4 times per week. Basically, I'm trying to double the amount that I climb so that I double the amount of repetitions that I'm actually getting in. By doubling the amount of repetitions, I'm just going to be able to do a whole lot more climbing. I'm able to read a lot more climbs, figure out exactly how to approach a climb, how to read the beta, and hopefully over the next couple of weeks, improve my ability to flash a climb. And the second method that I'm going to be using is doing technique-specific drills. So I know that these exist in climbing, and I actually don't know what they are. If you do, and if you have any suggestions, please comment below or reach out and let me know what I should look into in terms of workouts. But an example of this in another sport is you'll see gymnasts who are practicing the back flip for the first time will do tuck drills on the ground so that they practice what that tuck is going to feel like in a safe environment. And that's because that's a little more dangerous, but really they're just isolating the movement. And so that's what you want to do with technique-specific drills. You want to isolate certain movements and practice those over and over and over again. So like I said, I need to do some research into exactly what kind of drills that I'm going to have to be doing. I'll probably talk to a coach or someone who knows a lot more about climbing than I do, but this is one of the ways that I'm going to try and improve my technique. So with the competition in a little over a month from now, this is the training plan that I'm going to be following. I'm going to try and double the amount of times that I climb. I'm going to keep up the same relative pulling and grip workouts that I currently do. I'm going to increase my mobility, and I'm going to be doing some bouldering specific workouts. I'm going to try and document as much of my training as I can. So if you are interested in training for bouldering, if you're interested in preparing for rock climbing competitions, definitely subscribe below to keep up to date with all my training. And if you're looking for a post-climbing workout to do, check out this video right over here. This is definitely one of these workouts that I'm going to be doing a whole bunch over the next couple weeks. Thanks, guys.